And for the 5th consecutive Olympics, the United States of America is golden.
The USA basketball team is always loaded with talent, so it's practically a guarantee that some of the world's best players are left off the roster. But leaving the greatest shooter in NBA history off the roster until now is a crime, especially after he put on a clinic at the 2024 Olympics.
Back to Curry, dancing on Batum, over the double team. Oh! It's a golden dagger!
Steph Curry is nicknamed the baby-faced assassin, and for good reason. The 6'2" guard can drain threes from almost anywhere on the court. Serbia and France found that out the hard way, and he was a key piece of the team that snagged Team USA's 5th straight Olympic gold medal. With several of the NBA's biggest names on the team, such as LeBron James, KD, and others, the USA was a heavy favorite to repeat for the gold medal. They were loaded with talent from top to bottom. But one of the other big storylines going into the Olympics in Paris was this team's tendency to start slow. Many see the 1992 Dream Team as the greatest basketball team ever assembled. But one of the reasons that team is seen as the standard for the sport is because they looked invincible. There was never a time where they looked vulnerable or beatable no matter who they played. MJ, Larry, Magic, and the other legends on the roster regularly beat their opponents by at least 30 points per game or more. In fact, the Dream Team was so dominant that players from opposing teams would ask to take pictures with them after the game. They felt it was a privilege to be sharing the floor with the NBA's greatest players. The Dream Team was both incredibly talented and intimidating. The same can't be said for the 2024 squad. Even though they were stacked, playing down to the competition wasn't anything new for them. Not only that, but very few countries fear Team USA like they used to, as the talent around the world is caught up to the boys in the Stars and Stripes. This was on full display in a game between the US and South Sudan on July 20th. The game was an exhibition, and unfortunately, Team USA played like it. They let South Sudan match them step for step, and the youngest team in the world made them pay for it. Things eventually got out of hand that South Sudan was leading Team USA by 14 at half before they decided to actually play basketball. And even then, the U.S. had to fight right down to the wire to finally put the game away. One of the plays that helped them eventually complete the comeback was a trademark Curry three. That looked like something a kid would jack up while playing basketball at recess, but Steph again showed why he's the greatest shooter the NBA has ever had, and it was a glimpse of what he would do later on. Along with struggling against South Sudan in an exhibition game, the U.S. also had problems against Serbia. Except the biggest game against the Serbs wasn't just an exhibition, it counted more than most. It was for the right to advance to the gold medal. During the game, Nikola Jokic and his teammates seemed to have an answer for every run that Team USA tried to make. Serbia was doing something rarely seen from any country. They were beating the Americans at their own game. But Serbia couldn't quite complete the massive upset victory once Steph had them in his sights.
Steph Curry. The U.S. are on a roll.
He may have waited years to compete in his first Olympics. He might be 36 years old, but once Steph's on the top of his game and hitting from downtown, no one can stop him. How Steph looked against Serbia brought back memories of his 2 MVP NBA seasons and 4 championships won by the Warriors. It didn't matter where he was on the floor. Steph hit just about everything against Serbia. They had no answer for him.
Curry, he doesn't even need to look.
Steph played free, easy, and loose with the basketball. And if he's doing that, it's a dream for his teammates and a nightmare for anyone trying to stop him. Although, if we're being honest, there's no stopping Steph when he's on. You can only slow him down. But there was no slowing Steph down in this one. He exploded for 36 points to lead Team USA to a 93-91 comeback win over Serbia. Hand in his face, bang, bang. Mid-range jumper, bang. Downtown, bang. Next country over, bang. Okay, maybe the last one a bit of an exaggeration. Curry finished the game against Serbia with 9 three-pointers. But if you thought that game was crazy, his performance against France will be the stuff of legend decades from now. It'll be something Steph and his Olympic teammates can tell their grandkids when they're all old and gray. This year's gold medal game was a rematch of the 2020 game held in Tokyo. In that one, Team USA defeated France by just 5 points, and KD went off for 29 to lead them to the finish line. But if France had a chance to knock Team USA off their throne, this was it. They were led by Rudy Gobert, who's won Defensive Player of the Year multiple times, and Victor Wembanyama, the NBA's current Rookie of the Year. The game was surprisingly competitive. Team USA was able to get up by as many as 14, but France continued to claw their way back, making things interesting with stingy defense, crisp ball movement, and clutch baskets down the stretch. Wemby showed up big for the French with 26 points and 7 rebounds.
Lovely little dummy up on LeBron James!
While his teammate, Gershon Yabusele, scored 20 points. France even cut Team USA's lead down to 3 late in the fourth quarter. The score was 82-79 with just under 3 minutes left. But just like he's done so many times with the Warriors, Steph Curry crushed his opponent's dreams and smiled and laughed while doing it. When basketball players get older, you'd think they'd start losing their speed, agility, and touch with the rock. After all, like LeBron has mentioned several times in the past, Father Time is undefeated. And against France, Steph shot 8 of 13 from 3. He's never played in the Olympics before this year, but he scored a combined 60 points in the 2 biggest games and shot north of 63% from downtown. That's remarkable even for him. But it's what he did in the final 3 minutes against France that made everybody's jaw hit the floor. Let's take a look at how he did it. With 2:47 left in the fourth quarter and the USA up by 3, Curry took a behind-the-back pass from LeBron, bounced back and forth between 2 defenders, and let loose beyond the arc. Bang! Why Steph wasn't double-teamed probably has some French fans scratching their heads. Anyone who knows basketball also knows you can't leave Steph open or play half-hearted defense. The poor defender on this play made both of those mistakes. He didn't even get a hand up to contest the shot, and Steph made him pay for it. It wasn't a wide-open look, but with a shooter as sharp as Steph, a small window was all he needed to take a chance. And by now, he's incredibly comfortable with making some of the craziest shots we've ever seen. So this one was just a walk in the park. Some athletes get stronger and more dominant as the game goes on, no matter what sport they play. Steph Curry is one of those players. He's got a one-of-a-kind skill set and the comfort that comes with practicing it for years. The last thing anybody needs to do is give Steph confidence. If he gets into a rhythm and knocks down a couple of shots, it's only a matter of time before his team blows the doors off the opponent and gets the game in the bag. Let's take a look at clutch tray number 2. The defender didn't commit enough to playing solid defense when Curry hit the first shot. Here on the second one, 2 defenders do the exact opposite, and he still makes them pay. As you can see here, the first defender is already out of position as he follows Steph to the middle of the three-point line. With Batum out of position and not covering him well, Steph has several options to choose from. He can either dump the ball in the paint to Anthony Davis, kick it out to LeBron on the corner, or drive to the hole himself. Pulling the trigger on a triple might actually be the most difficult shot, but that's exactly what Steph does. As soon as Steph gets to the middle behind the three-point line, he simply sets his feet, but then shows laser-like focus. He knows Batum is off balance and can't contest the shot very well, so Steph simply waits for him to put his hands down and then bang. It doesn't matter to Steph that a second defender was coming down from the paint to contest the shot. That guy was an afterthought. That's how confident Steph is in his ability as a long-range shooter. As soon as Batum's hands went down, that was all the room Steph needed to take the shot. By this point, the momentum was slipping away from France, but Steph wasn't done. He still had a couple more nails to hammer into their coffin. On this third clutch three-pointer, there's no overcommitting or half-hearted defense. There's just zero defense beyond the arc. 4 French defenders are crowding the paint. They're too concerned with shutting down Devin Booker and not even remotely paying attention to anyone beyond that. Big mistake. There's only one defender even remotely close to Steph as he patiently waits for his chance to catch and shoot. The poor Frenchman stuck with defending Steph is on an island with the most dangerous man on the floor. Not only is he tasked with covering Steph if someone can kick the ball outside, but Steph has already hit a pair of clutch buckets. He's in the zone. The French defender has no chance. Zero. He's screwed. He just doesn't know it yet. But he'll find out soon enough. The only hope France has of preventing another 3 is forcing a turnover in the paint. But Booker is able to get free, kick the ball out to Steph, and then Steph just casually sinks it in like he's been practicing during pregame shoot-around. Defense 101, you never leave the most dangerous three-point shooter in history with a single defender and a clear line of sight to the basket. Otherwise, he looks great, you look stupid, and makes you pay dearly. But this fourth and final clutch three-pointer may just be the craziest one of them all. For the first 3 clutch shots Steph made down the stretch, those were all defensive breakdowns. The defenders either committed too much to stopping him or didn't commit at all, but they had him trapped here, and he still splashed it home. How? Let's take a look. KD has the ball, and he's halfway between the three-point line and half court. Steph's already in position for another 3, but the French are in a zone defense. They look like they're actually in good position to defend all areas of the floor at the start of the play. As soon as KD tosses the ball over to Steph, that sets everything in motion. Two defenders come down to trap him. They work together almost perfectly in sync. They have him bottled up, or so they think. For any normal basketball player, going against the trap defense is their worst nightmare. Only the best players have the strength or speed to go straight through the trap and slash the hole for the bucket. But most players end up committing a turnover when they get too aggressive trying to break through. But as we've seen Steph do during this game and the countless games he's played in his career, he's unpredictable. Again, he has options here. He can either try to break the trap, toss the ball back to KD, kick it out to the corner, or try to toss it down to AD in the paint. Chucking up a three-point shot shouldn't even be an option here, right? Wrong. Batum and Fournier have Steph covered. They're stuck to him like glue, but Steph dances to see if he can catch them out of position and create an opening. They still don't budge. As they both get their hands up to contest the shot, Steph lets it fly. He lets it go even though he's off balance and using his back foot to steady himself. A second later, swish. Steph has humiliated the French basketball team 4 times in less than 3 minutes. Simple as that. The Olympic gold medalist and future NBA Hall of Famer just hit 4 of the most clutch shots ever, each one crazier than the last. But that's who Steph is and what he does. He's quiet off the floor. If you didn't know who he is, you'd probably think he's just a local college kid or something. He's a babyface who doesn't talk much when he's not playing basketball. He's easygoing and laid back. But when he laces up his kicks and steps on the hardwood, he's a completely different person. He loves playing the game of basketball, but he's laser-focused and serious when he has to be. And once he's in rhythm, very few players or teams can stop him, if any. Serbia and France both learned a painful lesson. It's Steph's world, they're just living in it. And there's nothing they can do about it other than accept it. What do you think of today's video? Was the 2024 Olympics really one of Steph's greatest runs? Or have you seen better? Let us know in the comments below.